गुड मॉर्निंग डैलस, गुड इवनिंग इंडिया, गुड इवनिंग बैंगलोर बोलते हुए आप सबको आपका दोस्त, आपका होस्ट राजीव कुलकर्णी एक हुआ। आज का दिन है जून 23, 2024। हाँ जी, ऑलरेडी 6 months ऑफ दिस ईयर इज गेटिंग ओवर। पता भी नहीं चला कैसे एक झलक में सब 6 महीने ऐसे निकल गया, जैसे मतलब हम लोग पानी पी रहे हैं। चलिए, ये तो समय का खेल है और हमको डेफिनेटली समय के साथ चलना पड़ता है। तो ज्यादा फिलोसफी नहीं बातें करते हुए आज का ये कार्यक्रम शुरू करेंगे गणपति को याद करते हुए। हाँ जी, प्रति जो हम लोग संडे जो है कार्यक्रम के शुरू के पहले भगवान को याद करके शुरू करते हैं। आज भी भगवान को याद करके शुरू करेंगे। आइए।
देवा श्री गणेश 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 देवा श्री गणेश।
ज्वाला सी जलती है आंखों में जिसके भी दिल में तेरा नाम है, परवाह ही क्या उसका आरंभ कैसा है और कैसा परिणाम है। धरती अंबर सितारे है उसकी नजरें उतारे, डर भी उससे डरा रहे जिसकी रखवाली यारे करता साया तेरा। देवा श्री गणेश 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 देवा श्री गणेश। वरदान है जो कमाए वो धनवान है, बिन किनारे की कश्ती है वो देवा तुझसे जो अनजान है। यूं तो मूषक सवारी तेरी सब पे है पहरेदारी तेरी, पाप की आंधियां लाख हो कभी ज्योति न हारी तेरी। अपनी तकदीर का वो खुद सिकंदर हुआ रे, भूल के ये जहां रे जिसकी सीने यहाँ रे साथ पाया तेरा। हे देवा श्री गणेश 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 देवा श्री गणेश।
नमस्कार सभी दर्शकों को, राजीव कुलकर्णी का आज का दिन है जून 23 और एक और एपिसोड ऑफ भारत अन्वेषण को लेते हुए आप सबके सामने आज हमारे बीच एक स्पेशल गेस्ट है। आज हमारे बीच एक स्पेशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी है, तो मैं आपको बोलूंगा उनके बारे में, लेकिन 1-2 मिनट के बाद। सबसे पहले तो मैं थैंक यू बोलना चाहता हूं हमारे दर्शकों को, जो आप है, जो इस कार्यक्रम को हमेशा देखते हैं और सपोर्ट करते हैं, हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करते हैं और हमारे चैनल का लिंक जो है वो अपने दोस्तों में, अपने कॉन्टैक्ट्स और अपने रिश्तेदारों में इसको शेयर करते हैं, ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा जो लोग हैं सब्सक्राइब करें। और ज्यादा सब्सक्रिप्शन मतलब ज्यादा व्यूअरशिप मतलब हम भी खुश और हमारे गेस्ट भी खुश। चलिए, थोड़ा सा आज ज्यादा अंग्रेजी में हमारा डिस्कशन रहेगा, क्योंकि जो हमारे गेस्ट है उनको हिंदी बहुत कम समझ में आती है, बट शी इज डेफिनेटली ए डायनेमिक पर्सन। आई विल टेल यू अबाउट हर इन ए मिनट। लेकिन उसके पहले एक हम हमेशा पढ़ते हैं, वी ऑलवेज रीड दैट चेंज स्टार्ट्स विद यू and together we can change the world. And these are very beautiful lines. हाँ जी, जब भी हम ये पढ़ते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन इसको जो है वाकई में और जो चेंज कर रहे हैं वो है is a trust called Vatsalya Charitable Trust. They are making this happen by contributing towards strengthening the identity and visibility of internal migrant workers. हाँ, ये बहुत जरूरी है जाना. This is very important. Internal migrant workers and their families. They to ensure a sustainable living environment for provision of nutrition, education, health, and vocational and life skills training and charitable trust क्या है, what is their mission and what are they up to and when it started, ये सब जानने के लिए let us welcome the executive director of Vatsalya Charitable Trust, Ms. Hepzibah Sharmila. Welcome to the show. Good evening, Sharmila ji. Namaskar. How are you today?
Namaskar, Rajiv. Thank you so much for inviting me for the show.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure because I know that how busy you are a person, and it's very difficult to get hold of you. And you somehow took this 1 hour to share about yourself and also to share about your organization with our audience, the beautiful audience, I call them, because without them, the channel is impossible to run without their support. And you have taken that time out, and you are with us here, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'll share all that I have in my heart. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and we will become the community. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I will call you Sharmila ji, okay?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, thank you. So I know the first name is yours is Hepzibah. Hepzibah. But again, it's easier for me to call you Sharmila because I've been calling you as Sharmila for a long time now. So tell about yourself first, and originally where are you from, and how long you have been now settled in Bangalore. So let our audience hear about that.
Okay, that's nice that you're asking me questions about my roots. Generally, people ask questions about one's achievements right away.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a very simple, humble person. I come from a small town called Nagarkoil from Tamil Nadu. We are very close to the tip of South India, very close to Kanyakumari. And studied in a convent school, always engaging with, interact, protract, scouts, guides, and generally activities relating to people was my passion and interest. And I went into college to do my BSc Physics in Chennai. I studied in Women's Christian College, and that's when I really found out, when I was doing my physics experiments, for the temperature to come down, I need to wait. But I would have people to meet with in the lunch hour, and the temperature would not come down to my requirement. It wouldn't come down fast. And I would be missing my readings in the physics lab because I have to meet up with people. And I would volunteer at that time with NGOs. So I found meaning in causes and working with youngsters at that point of time. That was the time when HIV/AIDS, hit the scene. Okay.
Yeah.
89, early 88,
Yes.
89, So I had the privilege to volunteer with good organizations, people who are highly qualified, who got into the ground to work. So I had it in my mind, if you want to change anything, if you want to impact, you need to be on ground. That got into my mind at that time. So I have met with auto drivers, not to stigmatize them or to, put them into a box. I have met with the truckers. I've, spent hours in the Punamali High Road in the nights with the team of volunteers, So that really became a passion at that time. And then I decided I would study further. And when I discussed this with my mom, and particularly my granddad said, social work, you need to marry a rich man, plunder him, give to the world. You don't need to study. I mean, and then get paid. That's not social work. So there was quite a bit of convincing to do, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and my parents, they did meet with this particular doctor who was a, MD in psychiatry, who had gotten to do this work that I was also doing as a volunteer.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's exactly what I said. If you really need to bring about a change, you need to get to the root of the problem, and you need to be able to connect the problem to all possible areas of solution, So
Absolutely.
I got that very clear. And when I was volunteering itself, I used to tell, I want to go to Africa because that's where the problem is more. Let me go there and help them. But he said, see, you have a family who wants you to study. Many of them are academicians. And, you just strike the balance. You do your master's in social work, and then you could go. So
Mm.
that's how my journey began in this line, in this profession. Otherwise, I thought I may have done something allied to physics, beyond my bachelor's degree. And then I came into Bangalore to work. And that's when reality hit me.
Mm.
The pay that they offered was too less, for me to stay in Bangalore and work, being a non-resident of, Karnataka.
Karnataka.
Yes. So I did a book review for one of the research organizations as I was in college. And that doctor called me and he said, I would like you to come and join us. So before I could get my results, I came for an interview, but the pay was too less. I just couldn't have stayed here. And then I walked around the streets and then I found another NGO. I did it pretty much by myself. Those were the days when, we didn't rely much on social media and the internet. Met with people, and then I joined a community health and development training institute, where again they were focusing on, educating youngsters and, high risk groups. So that's where my social work career began.
Wow, that's very interesting. How life takes you through these kind of paths
Yeah.
to get into where the destination is, is
Yeah.
right. So because otherwise, you doing a master in social work, and then that interest you got developed, and then you got into the masters, and then you come to Bangalore, then you hit this, and then you see this on the road, and then your mind changes and get into social work. That's amazing. So now, how did this vatsalya begin? Because that's what the theme is also. What is vatsalya, and
Yeah.
how did it begin, and when did it begin, and why the name vatsalya?
Okay. Okay. Vatsala means mother's love
Yeah,
in Kannada. Okay.
correct.
So, while I'm not a Kannadiga, I love Kannada. I can
Yes.
do training in Kannada. I knew words very accurately in Kannada to convey my training messages. Subject matter, I'm fairly okay. And I love Kannada. So when I say Vatsalya, the moment I walk in there, I do know this is like uh, Thai mane tara irbeku. It's mother's
Tavaruma. And we
house.
also say Tavarumane. Yes, yes.
Our
Yeah.
money. Yeah. So it should be somebody's they're going back to their mom's place. That's the feeling. And Vatsalya is a beautiful NGO because it began in 1988, uh,
Okay.
started by very well-meaning um, experts in the field. Uh, a good combine of the head and the heart is what I would always call about the leadership of Vatsalya. And Vatsalya is a trust, and it started with by doctors and educationists, and they had connected with the donor agency in the US, Holt International. You will be aware of being, yeah, and children were abandoned. There were a lot of teen pregnancies. That's the time when nobody is talking about, sex and sexuality, and it's such a high taboo. Okay. And in my understanding, the greatness of a person is known when you are good to a vulnerable person,
Yes.
because it's very easy to show power and dismiss them when they are vulnerable.
Yeah.
So here there are young women full of fear, young girls full of fear, parents not knowing what to do with their teenagers who are pregnant, um, families breaking apart, calamities driving children to the streets. Um, Poverty is so high that people would drop children in dustbins, babies in
Oh,
dustbins. Yes, 1988. Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vatsalya worked very closely with the government child welfare committee and the government wing of caring for children and other NGOs. This is a job that you cannot do alone by yourself.
Hmm.
So unless you network, you cannot bring solutions to people in deep dire need. Okay, so that's how it was started, and it's amazing that in the year 2005-6, I applied for adoption myself there. I'm an adopted parent also of Vatsalya.
Okay.
So I was working elsewhere as a social worker at that time, but adoption was in my heart, and we applied for a child there. And today my daughter is 18 years of age. My son is biological, my daughter is adopted. So I have two precious children,
Very
and
nice.
yeah, both are extremely unique individuals. Um, Hard to compare, but good to combine. So, I mean,
Very
like, I'm
nice.
very privileged. And in the year 2017, I went into Vatsalya to take on this position of the director of Vatsalya.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so you mentioned that abandoned kids, like
Yeah.
for the migrant workers, or maybe,
Mm.
the kids are abandoned. And what type of kids are eligible to, I mean, to be brought here, or how do you
Okay.
like bring the kids here?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for the last 10 to 15 years, there has been a transition in Vatsalya. We would have placed about 1,200, 1,500 children, both national and international adoption. We found homes for them. But we did move away from adoption to taking care of other vulnerable children
Yeah.
because, uh, adoption is very centralized now. Okay.
Yeah.
It is done only through Kara. And we felt there are more children within biological families that needed support.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I'd like to bring the tip of the iceberg concept.
Okay.
This is where we should know the depravity that we are all part of. Uh, we would say that children without parents um, needed support, but the harsh reality is that children within the homes of, homes having biological parents do need support.
That is
Okay.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Migration is very harsh. Migration is not fair. If someone who's highly educated, if they need to move from one, the company will literally buy you and ensure where your kids will be studying. And, if you need to shorten your notice period, the companies, meet face to face and see how they're going to handle it. And packers and movers are there, and, the HR helps you. It's not the case with the vulnerable.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where our greatness is known, because we see them with equality.
Hmm.
Okay. So somebody who has done adoption work knows a child is a tiny human. Every child deserves a home. Okay.
That is
Every
true.
family is a family, irrespective of which college you went through and what degrees you have, what your achievements are. The family is the vital unit of every nation and of all mankind. So um, migration is most unfair. Migration is very harsh. I do realize that um, those that migrate, they may have studied in their local language at least to class 1 or 2 or whatever. But when they bring their children into the city, they are not in a position to give them that kind of a learning in their own mother tongue.
That is true.
Everything is actually alien. We are used to seeing through the eyes of the adult. Children are all the time perceiving, all the time seeing, all the time learning, all the time observing. 0 to 5 is a very foundational age where their learning is maximum. It's like a university is happening in their head. But we are
Correct.
not standing. We are thinking that doesn't matter. Small school, you don't need to, give much significance to it. So we dismiss it very badly. So that's when Vatsalya said, we are working with adoption with few kids. We are moving towards serving more number of children. Today, annually, around 2,250 case managed children is what we see.
Wow.
Now, when we say case managed, we report on the child 3 to 4 times in a year. If anything is happening to the child, me and my team, we are accountable. Okay.
Wow.
If there's an incident that happens to the child, it is recorded. Okay. Preventive measures are taken, curative measures are taken. So when I tell you how we have architected Vatsalya's 4 verticals now, you will know we cover the range from 0 to 16 years of age. Okay. We have a small gap of 16 to 18 because of funding requirements. Okay. Because when the kids from 16 to 18, they need to go to the higher classes. Cost requirement is more. Okay, so we are focusing from the foundational years. Okay, those are gaps that can be easily filled in. And then we also work with the mothers. So would it be okay if I talk to you about how Vatsalya functions and what are 4 verticals?
That was my next question. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
How, like what are the activities engaged, for the kids? So, but before that, we will quickly look at this video from Vatsalya. Let's see this.
Oh, that's
then
nice.
Wow, that was
Yeah,
great. That was great. In fact, wanted to tell the audience that this is one of the program they have. They try to teach the kids some kind of music. So this is one of the clippings that I got hold of, and definitely it's amazing that how kids they have their own interest. It doesn't matter which background they come from, but yeah, music has no language, as people say, and this shows that. And yes, let us continue our discussion, Sharmila ji.
yeah,
So how Vatsalya functions, you are about
yeah,
to tell me. Yes.
yeah. Thank you for the bringing that video. It's like I'm a slightly changed person in a matter of minutes, watching that video.
Yes.
Yeah,
So actually,
yeah,
I wanted to thank two people here. One is, of course, Sandeep ji, who is technically he supports Sandeep Sadananda. Thank you very much. From ANV perspective, he's always, technically he gives he's like a backbone for all my shows. And of course, Chandrika Rao, who has put me in touch with you, and
yes,
and thank you very much, Chandrika, and for introducing Sharmila ji. And definitely, we have done program, and we have tried our best to support Vatsalya. Okay, let's
yeah,
continue
yeah,
our talks. Yes.
yeah. So in line with the, video that you saw, we work with very clear philosophy. For the early childhood, our philosophy is children are like wet cement. Whatever falls on them makes an impression. So
Mm.
the video that you saw is like in a daycare center, in a child development center. Generally, we teach them, we feed them, but our Vatsalya, if there is a requirement to introduce one parent to the other, we try and do that. Okay. It's exactly like would operate for the children and the grandchildren. So, children come from different backgrounds, different languages they speak. Okay. Currently, what we do is we teach them a very fine curriculum. We teach them phonetics. We want them to be able to read very well.
Mm.
Okay. Reading definitely maketh a man. And while they speak in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, Urdu, whatever that language may be, okay, sometimes even Nepali, kids pick up languages very fast. So we call it an integrated curriculum. It's not about just teaching English. They understand what they say in their mother tongue. We teach in a mixed, mixed languages are used, and kids move from the junior caterpillar to the senior caterpillar. So they just eat and sleep during the caterpillar stage. We don't need to teach them.
Mm.
They sleep in the afternoons. So that's the education that they're getting. A safe space, they're psychologically safe. The parents are very comfortable bringing the children here. Initially, when the child cries, there's a lot of attention given to how the attachment with the parent is not broken off. It's not like, drag them and then keep them here till they stop crying. No, the mother or the father gets to spend more time with the child till the child is like, you come for a few hours and take your child back till they can get adjusted. We are very careful about attachment issues for the children. We want them to start their life with good trust. And from the caterpillar stage, they move to the pupa. That's class is close to the cooking and the dining area. Okay. There are many of us who can actually give care for them. And they move into the butterfly stage. Okay. And that's kind of equivalent to the lower kindergarten group. And by then, they are able to read words. We focus more on reading before they can write. But when they move from the butterflies to the bunnies, that's age 5 to 6, okay, they are able to read, they're able to write, they're able to connect very meaningfully with the adults. They know to clarify, ask questions. And when they are 6, we mainstream them to good schools around the area. So in a matter of 2 to 3 years, we engage so well with the parents. We celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever the day may be, kids and parents are engaged together. They go on picnics with the parent. Okay. If
Wow.
the employees do not give leave, those that get leave go first batch. Then, in the meanwhile, we are teaching them how to speak to their employers to say, I need to take this day off, because families are families no matter where they belong to. And we don't thrive because of all that we got intellectually, all that we have through an emotional connection and through our families is very vital. So our prime goal is family strengthening. So 0 to 5 or 6, this is the first vertical, where we believe that children are like wet cement. Whatever falls on them makes an impression. Like how you saw this child playing the tabla. You donated the tabla to that child that is not with us, that's gone to that family,
That's
and
very
there
nice.
are 3 or 4 kids, they're all like musically inclined. They're not with us here, but we do know if we call them, they will come. If there is a recital, our goal is not to, contain all these people. Our goal is to train them, and then, we call it a departure. There is a very clear progress marked, and then there is a departure. No
Very
child
nice.
does a departure without a progress.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah, so that's what we call as a case managed child. So it's not like doing charity. It's not like doing something, we began and we are continuing it. Every child matters. Vatsalya, overarching goal is family strengthening, but we work with the focus on the child. We could do hundreds of activities, but the focus is on the child. We are
Child.
pretty razor sharp on that. Yeah, the latest is Rajiv. We've got a CRM tool, like how you have your businesses
Yes.
tracking your clients. We call them our clients. We are in the business of child development. So while there is a Vatsalya, mother's love kind of a thing, the half moon is like that. The other half moon is like we need to run our projects, with precision. We need to track our children with precision. So in the last 1 year, we have introduced a CRM tool, and we are trying to put in so that, quickly we are able to retrieve. If a child requires a little more support, we will be able to put out the case stories faster and connect to people who are always there to support. In our country, it's always the resource and the need. If you could connect well, we have done the job. So, and
Fantastic. Fantastic.
yeah.
So beautifully you have explained. And the one thing which definitely, touched is, every case is being considered like child case, like you complete that, then you go to the next one. So each child matters. So that is very touching, that's really, really touching. So tell me one thing that, what if the parents doesn't have enough income? And of course, these are abandoned children. And when they become something, and then they get onto the academic education side, for example, I don't know if you have come to that level yet or not, the child growing, getting onto
Okay.
the 7th grade or 10th grade, and so on and so forth, if that level has come to Vatsalya or not. But again, let's say if single parent is there, and what if the income is really, really not sufficient enough to support? How do you manage the
Okay.
fund? Yeah.
Okay. So our inclusion criteria is very critical. There are poor all over. The rich, unfortunately, cannot really get into Vatsalya because we don't have that space and services. Okay, our services are given free of cost. Okay,
Okay.
and we pick those that are economically weak. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the only criteria. We have a ranking form which will pick indicators which are adverse for the child. There is something called ACE indicators, adverse um, childhood events. There are certain events that are very adverse for the child. For example, migration is actually very hard upon the child. People don't feel, you go with your mother, so you feel it's fine. Like a friend of mine is moving to the US. We are talking a lot about how is the son coping and how will he, what are you leaving behind? What are you, we're discussing so much with that child. But for an internal migrant, nobody's going to ask. Our migrants will keep a couple of kids here and a couple of kids there in their villages because they don't have space here. Okay. They may begin their education and then they may say, okay, I've been with this child for 1 year now. I want to bring the other child. This child can be taken care of by the grandmother. So there could be an interruption in the education. Okay. So these are all real life situations that we discuss with families. Okay. And yes, there are single parents. It is becoming a reality that either many parents are in conflict, there's a lot of strife or a lot of violence, or some of them have become single parents. Recently, I did a study on financial strain on single parents. I was amazed, I was shocked to see there were so many alcohol-related suicides of dads. Okay. So many widows, so many COVID widows. Okay. A sizable percentage of them because of abuse that they have moved away from their husbands. Okay. So these children definitely get priority. When I say a child doesn't have comfortable relationship with their father or mother or whatever, Vatsalya's goal is family strengthening. There is a grandmother, there is a grandfather, there is an uncle, there is a mother, there is a father. Our idea is like, how does the child get the best of all of them? We ensure that children don't put the bad impression. I'm like very vehement. I tell them, when what we put makes a good impression, would we allow somebody to make a bad impression? Let us know how we can support you.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And many of them have changed their mindsets. Last couple of days, 2 days ago, I went to Madras Defense, very close to our office. And one lady very nicely, she smiled and she said, "Hi, ma'am." I said, "Hi." I mean, and then she said, "Oh, no, do you know I'm so-and-so's mother?" I said, "Oh, yeah." And then, "Come, let's take a selfie." "Oh, this is the third selfie we are taking together," she said. So I said, "Hey, yeah, refresh it." Remember, we did a dance, then we did a selfie. So that was the year the mother and the child, they danced together. Okay. So at that time, so it doesn't matter. We don't do the same thing um, um, continually, very vibrant, very dynamic we are. So what the staff feel is relevant at that point of time, multiple extracurricular activities keep changing. So while the mainstream of education happens, whatever is possible for in the last year, a colleague of mine, the project officer, she has taken the children to say, "Ma'am, they're receiving a lot. Is it possible for them to give back? Because we are having a generation where people don't like to give back." So we visited a home where the elderly were taken care of, and the kids brought in their stuff. And then we went and spent time. So that's a joy. So our whole idea is like, make a holistic impact in the life of the child. And you asked me the question, what happens after they finish? Do they have the money? We train parents to save. It's not so expensive. It's all a mindset change. And there are some of them who do post office savings. We are in the process of making groups and sanghas where they can save for the fees for them when they move into class 1. Okay. And for the extremely poor, we move them from this vertical to the next vertical. That's the education sponsorship vertical that works with children from age 6 to 16.
Wow.
And yeah, so the philosophy for that is While parents possess the original key to the destiny of a child, if they lose it, we social workers have it. We have the duplicate key. Okay.
Correct.
So this is a quote by a psychologist, a Jewish person, 1 or 2 centuries ago, probably. Okay. But I was so impressed with it. I said, like, we don't say that these kids are ours. We have the privilege of serving them, mentoring them for a while, along with their parents. And in the education sponsorship program, the best thing is we work with the school. We change the ecosystem. We pick few teachers and then we train them on all these hard, touchy, sensitive, painstaking, issues. Because if we don't deal with these things, it becomes very hard for a child to bloom. And in social work, there is a tool called social casework. It's a very diagnostic thing, like how a doctor would diagnose the problem. He will have a treatment phase and he will terminate the treatment and he'll put the patient on follow-up. It's very similar to that. This is what we study in social work. And people might think it's so simple, it's so commonsensical. It's, what's so big about it? Okay. You adhering to all the principles, maintaining the stages, following the child and the family through the stages, then later on, they don't need you. They don't need intervention. Okay. We have had sibling-headed homes. Few of them, of course, those numbers are not as big as those, with parents. They have done very well. We have educated them. We have seen them through college. 1 week ago, my client, she has finished her master's in clinical psychology and she has got a job.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah.
So the counseling goal for them would be, in their family, there will not be any more dysfunctionality.
Wow.
Okay.
Beautifully explained. Beautifully explained. Let's take a quick break and let's come back.
Sure.
सुन के तेरी पुकार, संग चलने को तेरे कोई हो ना हो तैयार, हिम्मत ना हार, चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, फकीरा चल चला चल। ओ सुन के तेरी पुकार, सुन के तेरी पुकार, संग चलने को तेरे कोई हो ना हो तैयार, हिम्मत ना हार, चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, फकीरा चल चला चल। बचपन में हुआ घर से बेघर, आज तलक ना बस पाया, घर में लगी जो आग वो बुझ गई, जलती रही तेरी काया। बचपन में हुआ घर से बेघर, आज तलक ना बस पाया, घर में लगी जो आग वो बुझ गई, जलती रही तेरी काया। बीती बातें बिसार, ओ
बीती बातें बिसार, ऐसा कोई नहीं जो ना हो गम से बेजार। हिम्मत ना हार, चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, अकेला चल चला चल, फकीरा चल चला चल।
बैक टू भारत अन्वेषण, आपका दोस्त, आपका होस्ट राजीव कुलकर्णी एक और बार आपके लिए बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक आज लेके आ रहे हैं। हमारे साथ जो बनी है शर्मिला जी, जो वात्सल्य चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट को बिलोंग करती है। शी इज एन एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर ऑफ वात्सल्य चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट विच इज इन बेंगलुरु। हाँ जी, दे टेक केयर ऑफ द अबैंडन्ड चिल्ड्रन। और कितने ब्यूटीफुल तरीके से उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया है कैसे उनको उधर ट्रीट किया जाता है, उनको कैसे सपोर्ट किया जाता है। एंड दे डू इट ऑल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। ऑफ कोर्स स्पॉन्सर्स हमेशा काम आते हैं। they need definitely sponsors, they need definitely donation, they need definitely जो मदद कर सकें। that way they can run this charitable organization. Welcome back, Sharmila ji, after this small break, because I normally take this break, just to give us some cooling down period, because
Yes.
we talking is 1 hour is a lot of talking. And then and I play the songs which are related to the topic of the day. But anyway, it was beautiful to listen to you about the activities which are going on. So tell me about the children. You also take care of the physically challenged children, or so-called mentally challenged children. And if you do, then how they are placed in the school, and then what kind of financial assistance you get to take care of them.
Okay. So children who have any form of disability, okay, any form of special need that they have, okay, we do screening.
Okay.
Currently, year 24-25, you can be sure that we are in training with another organization called Akshada Foundation. They're fantastic with dealing with children with intellectual disability and other forms of disability. Okay, so even without the training, we would screen them with the possible way that we knew, but we would network with those institutions that focus on such needs. So, yeah. So that's what I said, the casework. So every child does not require everything. Okay. Yeah. So quickly get them their, below poverty line card. Many of the migrants will not have their documentation in place. Okay. If they had it in their hometown, it will not be useful for them over here. Or while shifting, they have lost their, Aadhaar card and so that actually is very challenging. So the so-called teacher, you may say, has multiple roles to do. Okay, so we call our staff child development worker. Okay. We can't just one task. So yeah, and we network with organizations medically, socially. Okay, there are kids who have received hearing aids. Okay, there are children who have gone for speech therapy. Okay, in partnership. So the child is registered here, but the child visits the other institute, and the mother comes back to report how the child is doing. Okay, and there are children with medical needs that have been taken care of. Okay, somebody who needs a cochlear implant has to go through, it's not done by Vatsalya alone. That's why I said Vatsalya networks for services. Okay, we don't believe that we can do it alone. Whatever the child requires, we very clearly refer and we network so that the child gets the best.
So, about the workers or the staff or child development workers, you said CDW. Let's put it this way. So, who are eligible to, join as the staff or workers in your trust? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We want them to be trained. We want them to be teachable. I always use this acronym FAT: faithful, available, teachable.
Okay.
So yeah, we are a team of 40 people. Okay. All of us are faithful. Okay. Someone told me it's a 80-20 rule where, 20%. I said, no, it's 100. Because if we're not 100% in, we won't be able to do the job well.
Yeah.
So, and it's a very highly infectious, thing that, your skills you pass on to somebody, and the morale of the team is very good.
Right.
And there are project officers, okay, who have different skills, who have different type of degrees. There are masters in social work candidates. We have one staff who is specialized with special education, okay, and we have a nurse on the team. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And and in the office team, we are looking at highly skilled people, because I want to move Vatsalya from this phase to the next. All our verticals are delivering optimum and above optimum, and our services can be nicely replicated, tested, tried, and proved. Okay, effective services. So now we just need to tie up with donors, with funders, with corporates, with individual philanthropists who believe that, I was just calculating, looking at the 4 verticals, $250 per child per year is all that it takes.
Yeah, that's not much at all. Yeah.
That's not much at all.
It's like
Okay.
$20 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not big at all. And the staff are actually part of the service.
Okay.
So it's not about giving them things, but we are part of the service that we give to the children and the families.
So I also heard that you are expanding now. And what are the, like future plans on that?
Okay. Post-COVID, I felt we should not contain to the current work that we are doing. We should be out there far into the communities. So we started a nutrition project because I found so many people malnourished, so many people not having food. We were in 2021, 22. That's the time I felt, if they didn't have food reserves, okay, and children were malnourished, I said, we need to touch them with nutrition. And nutrition has a lot of link to learning and brain development. So the philosophy of that project is those who have less to eat must eat right. So we provide high protein porridge made by our own staff, okay, and boiled eggs on a daily basis, Monday to Saturday, for about 350 children in 3 settlements.
Wow.
Okay. And we don't give fancy food. We don't feed you psychologically. There are different levels of feeding that one can do, to say that I gave food to someone and I feel good about it. No, there is no feeling good about it. A bowl of porridge and a boiled egg a day, the children must have, and they go through their growth monitoring. So our nurse would go and check their height, weight, BMI, mid-upper arm circumference, head circumference, the child's hemoglobin. We track the children's growth. Okay. If there is a child that is malnourished, immediately supplements are given. And the beauty is this is done by few women who are trained from the community itself.
Very nice, very nice.
Pay them a small honorarium. So this is one expansion. This is one project that can take on in very many places. And the 4th vertical is the Women's Development Program. You have seen the products that we have made for your Charag Vision. You have picked up stuff from our production unit. The philosophy there is the woman I was yesterday introduced me to the woman I'm today, and I'm excited to meet the woman I will become tomorrow. Okay. So if mama changes, destiny of the child is different.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of tips on parenting, a lot of skill training. Okay. They learn tailoring, they learn to make products in jute. Recent training is on quilts. They're learning to make quilts out of, discarded old material. Uh, on their own, they said, we would like to learn English, because when children go to school, they learn English. We would like to know what they speak, and we would like to speak. So they have taken spoken English classes. They have organized themselves into sangars, groups, and they've started saving. And the way we sponsor education for the children, for those mothers who are coming into groups, they are able to they're able to pay the fees for the children.
Wow.
Because there's enterprise also linked to it.
Very nice.
So the expansion is, the number of cases that we handle now is around 2,200, 2,500 on an annual basis. Every vertical is ready to grow. We have proposals that are ready. If you do have connections with corporates, okay, or philanthropists or donor agencies, okay, we are very clear. If there is €1, $1, whatever that comes, I can tell you, we can multiply the social impact into 10 or even 100.
Yes.
Because the cost of our intervention is less, because our strategies are very clear.
Very clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well said, Sharmila ji. Actually, we are almost now through close to, like 1 hour of the show. So you never know how the time flies. And it's very, interesting to know the activities that you are carrying in Vatsalya Trust. And so if somebody has to donate, how they can reach out to you?
Yeah. We have 2 bank accounts. If they are within India, we have a local bank account. Okay. We also have an FCRA account. We are highly compliant to every law of the land. We are extremely transparent. All our transactions are online. We have double accountability mechanisms in place. So we would like people to communicate with us, know where they would like to invest. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we could share our banking details with them.
Okay.
And
otherwise they can reach out on your website.
Yes. It's www.bctblr.org.
So दर्शकों को मैं बताऊं कि अगर आपको वात्सल्य के लिए कुछ मदद करना है, स्पॉन्सर करना है या डोनेट करना है, www.vctblr.org आप इधर जाके, वात्सल्य के वेबसाइट है, उसमें जाके आप कॉन्टैक्ट में जाके you can write to them, you can express your interest that you want to donate, and they can have a communication, and they can ask you, they can tell you that these are the different verticals they have, in which vertical you want to donate or whatever you want to donate. So definitely my appeal is, from Bharat Anveshan, we must, as a human being, we come on this earth only once in our lifetime. So in that lifetime, if we are well-to-do, if we are able to do whatever little thing, whatever little help we can do to save a child, we should do that. जैसे कि शर्मिला जी ने बोला है, it is only $250 a year, which is only $22 a month, which is nothing. $22, we eat our breakfast in one time, and we just spend it. So it is $22 a month. You can support a child. So you can, easily donate and be a part of this society, supporting this beautiful work, what Vatsalya has been doing. So with that, Sharmila ji, thank you again for giving the insight of Vatsalya. And Chandrika ji, thank you very much for introducing me to Sharmila ji and the Vatsalya as such. And I hope that you will grow more and more, and your organization grows, and so that you get a lot of support from the viewers or listeners, and wherever we could, share this particular interview link to people, and they can come and reach out to you. So again, it is www.vctblr.org. Thank you very much, Sharmila ji, for taking your time and telling about Vatsalya, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll meet you very soon when I'm in India.
Yes, looking forward to it. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
so much, Rajiv ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.